Welcome to another journey through the quiet corridors of forgotten time. Tonight, we travel backward, far backward, beyond the ruins and beyond the marble, past the myths and the monuments. We're going to ancient Rome, not the Rome of glory and grandeur, but the Rome of worn sandals and sleepless nights, of crumbling tenements and smoky streets. A city alive with motion, but heavy with smells, with sounds, with the daily rhythm of survival. For the next 2 hours, allow yourself to drift slowly into a world long gone but not forgotten. We'll begin our journey by walking in the worn footsteps of the average Roman. No senate, no arena, no fame, just one day of ordinary struggle. Then we'll find ourselves swept into the fire that once devoured this ancient city and follow the strange path of the man who watched it burn. Later, we'll descend into whispers and shadows as we explore the mysterious practice of Roman curses into lead, folded tight and dropped into dark waters. And finally, we'll end our night at an elite banquet where delicacies and death mingle around the same marble table. But first, imagine yourself waking up in a cramped room, in the heart of a city that never sleeps, never quiets, and never quite feels clean. Let us begin. The room is dark and already warm. The sun hasn't yet risen above the tiled roofs of the city. But the air inside your insular apartment is thick, unmoving, and heavy with the scents of stale bread, cooking oil, and the faint musts of sweat-soaked linen. You've been sleeping on a straw mattress, shared, perhaps, with family members or a neighbor. Privacy here is a luxury reserved for those who live farther uphill. Outside, the sound of footsteps begins to echo up the narrow stone street. Sandals against uneven paving stones. A vendor calling softly, "Olive, fresh olives." You rise, not because you feel rested, but because the city is already alive. There's no plumbing here, no running water. If you want to wash, you'll need to fetch water from the nearest public fountain. It's not far, but the walk is crowded. You pass shop fronts already opening, young boys sweeping dust into the gutters, and beggars cradling yesterday's wounds in the shadows. The fountain is shaped like a lion's mouth, face-chipped, water trickling from between its teeth. You dip your hands in the water, is cold, and tastes faintly of copper, but it's clean enough. Breakfast, if you can afford it today, will be a small cake of grain, perhaps a smear of fish paste, if fortune smiles. The rich drink wine in the morning. You settle for sour water and chew slowly, thinking more of your aching feet than the food in your mouth. Your workday begins soon. You're a porter, today carrying sacks of wheat from the docks to the storehouses uphill. You don't always get paid in coin. Sometimes in bread, sometimes not at all. The streets are loud now. Everywhere, people are moving. Some wear togas, clean, white, elegant. They glide through the crowd as if on a different plane. But most, like you, wear tunics, faded by sun and sweat. You press through a side alley, dodging a pile of refuse. The city has no formal sanitation. The sewer cloaca Maximo handles the runoff of 1,000 homes, but it cannot cleanse the cobblestones. You step carefully. 4 chamber pots are emptied from second-story windows, often without warning. A man yells something obscene above, and a dark stream hits the stones behind you. You keep walking, always walking. At midday, the heat becomes oppressive. The shade is fleeting, and the streets radiate warmth like kill-fired clay. The stone beneath your sandals is almost too hot to touch. You pause for a moment beside a statue of Mercury, offering a whispered prayer, not out of piety, but habit. You don't expect favor. By evening, your back aches. Your hands are red with calluses. The money you've earned will buy dinner, but little more. A boiled grain porridge, maybe lentils, salt, if you're lucky. Your building is tall, 5 stories, wood-framed, leaning slightly into the alley below. Fires are common. If one breaks out tonight, you will have no safe escape. The city burns easily, and often. The room is still hot. The walls retain the sun's breath. You try to sleep, but outside, the voices linger. Arguments, drunken songs, the sound of dogs barking, then silence, then another voice rising. You roll onto your side. Tomorrow will be much the same, and if you're wondering why you wouldn't last a day in ancient Rome, it is not because of war, or gladiators, or poison. It is because life was unrelenting. A rhythm of sweat, of scarcity, of breathless heat and bone-deep fatigue, and yet they lived it every day. Now, let us leave these streets behind and step into another time. A single night in the summer of 64 AD, when all of Rome watched the horizon burn. It begins with a whisper, a flicker of light just beyond the Palatine Hill. The time is midnight, the air is still, the city is asleep. It is the year 64 AD, the emperor is Nero, and tonight the city will change forever. No one knows for certain how it started. Some say a spark in the merchant stalls near the Circus Maximus. Others whisper about candles left burning too long or kitchens gone unwatched. What is known is that the fire spreads quickly. Rome, in these days, is a tinderbox. The buildings are crowded and crooked. Many are made of wood, covered in pitch. The streets are narrow, the winds unpredictable. Flames leap across alleyways, as if alive, hungry. By the time the first screams echo through the forum, it is already too late. You, a citizen, wake to chaos. Smoke seeps through cracks in your walls. The sky, once black as red, flickering with the colors of disaster. People run through the streets, barefoot, arms full of children and bread and whatever they could grab. Others freeze, paralyzed by the roar of the blaze. Temples, shops, entire neighborhoods consumed. For 6 days, Rome burns. Then, for a moment, the flames die down only, to return again, fanned by a sudden gust of wind, or, some claim, by a hand more deliberate. Conspiracies spark. Did Nero light the fire himself? The rumors spread like embers. Some say Nero watched the city burn from the safety of his palace, strumming a lyre and singing of Troy's destruction. Others say he opened the imperial gardens to the homeless, offering food and comfort. The truth is likely somewhere in between, but it is what comes after the fire that lingers. 10 of Rome's 14 districts suffer damage. 3 are reduced to ash. Thousands are dead. More are homeless. Families broken. Shrines blackened. Public baths collapsed into charred rubble. Nero needs a scapegoat. He finds one in a small, misunderstood religious sect, the Christians. They are arrested, beaten, and executed in brutal public displays. Some are covered in tar and set alight to serve as torches in Nero's garden. Even in death, the fire continues. But amid the ashes, plans are drawn. Nero sees an opportunity to reshape Rome into his vision, his legacy. He drafts designs for a new city, broader streets, fireproof stone, grandeur, control, and at the center of it all, the Domus Aurea, the Golden House. A palace so vast and indulgent, it will spark outrage across generations. Yet the scars of the fire never truly fade. Rome becomes quieter, suspicious, resentful. Nero's popularity wanes. The fire that devoured Rome did not stop with buildings. It consumed reputations, traditions, perhaps even the very soul of the city. Tonight, you've seen Rome in flames, but beneath its ashes lay strange things, yet untouched. Lead tablets folded in hate, nails driven into stone, curses whispered to gods of the underworld. Next, we explore the darker corners of Roman culture where revenge had no voice, but still found a way to be heard. Let's descend into the shadows of Roman curses. We now enter the forgotten corners of Roman belief, the whispered realm of gods, spirits, and vengeance. Not the thunder of Jupiter, not the grandeur of temples or public oaths. This is something quieter and far more personal. These are the cursed tablets, known to scholars as Defixiones, fragments of pain, written not to be seen, but to be heard by forces beneath the world. Picture yourself standing at the edge of a Roman well, somewhere in the countryside or beneath a temple. In your hand, a thin sheet of lead cold, pliable and heavy with purpose. You are not rich, you do not have lawyers, you have been wronged, and this is how you speak your truth. You scratch the words with a stylus, often clumsily, the Latin irregular, sometimes desperate. Some curses are simple. Let Gaius lose every court case he enters. Others are bitterly poetic. I give over to you the head, the heart, the soul of Mutilla. Let her weep in her sleep and find no rest. The tablet may include hair or nail clippings, pierced with a nail. It may be folded tightly, tied with wire, or sealed with wax. Then you drop it into the dark, into a grave, into a spring, into a chasm where you believe the gods below the phonic deities might hear it, not the gods of Olympus, but Pluto, Persephone, Hecate, and you walk away silent. Archaeologists have found hundreds of these tablets, hidden in sacred springs, in tombs, in forgotten pockets of time. Some plead for love, others cry for justice, a few wish only for revenge. A man named Felix begs the gods to bind his rival in a chariot race. A woman curses the baker who gave her a false measure of grain. A child writes a curse against another student, perhaps over a stolen toy. Many curses call for the names of the guilty to be bound, their tongues tied, their sleep disturbed. They ask the gods not for immediate violence, but for erosion, slow ruin, a life gently unraveling. To the modern mind, they are eerie and oddly intimate. They show us a world where the powerless still found a voice, where justice, though distant, could still be asked for. And in the silence of those buried lead sheets, you can still almost hear the whisper, "Do not let him sleep, make him suffer as I have suffered. Let her know what she has done." These are not epic stories. They are fragments of daily life, spets, jealousies, its fears, its griefs, preserved in metal and mud. And now we turn upward from these shadows beneath the streets to the candlelit halls above, a different world, where bronze mirrors shine and conversations are carried on silver platters. A banquet is beginning. Let us dine with the elite. The sun has set behind the Palatine Hill. The city below hums faintly distant voices, torchlight flickering in alleyways, dogs barking in the dark. But here, inside this Domustis house of the Roman elite, everything is quiet. deliberate. You are not a laborer tonight. You are a guest, or perhaps a servant, observing from behind the curtained archways. The floor beneath your feet is cool mosaic tile, hand-laid, colored like the sea. Walls glow with frescoes, gods reclining, fruit overflowing, mythical hunts frozen mid-stride. Oil lamps line the room, casting soft shadows across marble busts. In the atrium, the master of the house receives guests, draped in pure white linen, sandals polished, beard oiled, voice calm. Tonight is not a feast for necessity. It is a performance, an art. The dining room triclinium is arranged with 3 couches. You recline on your left side, propped on an elbow. Your right hand is free for olives, for figs, for the wine that never stops flowing. The meal begins with gustaccio, the appetizer course. Sea urchin with vinegar, garum spiced eggs, plates stuffed with nuts and honey. You chew slowly, not because you are full, but because it is expected. Then the prima mensa, the main course, peacock perhaps, or dormice rolled in poppy seeds and honey, pig's udders in fermented sauce. A musician plays quietly, a flute, maybe a girl trained from childhood, plucking soft notes while staring straight ahead. A slave pours more wine into your cup, diluted with water, flavored with herbs. You sip, you speak in riddles, or not at all. This is not about nourishment. This is about status. Every bite, every glance, every word reveals your rank, your alliances, your refinement. Then the secunda mensa, dessert, pastries, cheese, and dried fruit. Wine again, sweeter now, stronger. Tongues loosen, laughter swells. But beneath the silken marble, tension lingers. Politics, betrayal, debt. Even the highest-born Romans are not free. They are bound by favors, by games of power, by gossip whispered between mouthfuls of imported fig. At the center of the room, a dish is brought out, roasted songbirds, arranged with gold leaf. No one eats them. They are there to be admired. The night ends late. Some guests stumble into the street. Others stay to sleep in guest rooms, guarded by carved household gods, Lares watching from niches in the walls. The master returns to his study. He writes letters by candlelight. He wonders who among his guests is planning his downfall, and the city sleeps. From the elite in their marble halls, to the laborers in wooden lofts, to the curses folded into dark water below. This was Rome, a city of noise and silence, of blood and marble, of soot and silk, and now it fades. Let it drift behind your closed eyes. Let the voices of the past slip gently into shadow. Sleep well. Tomorrow there will be another place, another forgotten time to wander through together. Good night.